How I manifested shifting my placenta while I was pregnant. Listen in, I am going to share this story with you for Manifestation Monday today. I did a poll on my profile and a lot of you were interested in hearing this story. So here we go. So quick little backstory for you here. I am 36 weeks pregnant with our second baby right now. Our first little guy is about 2.5, so I was pregnant 2.5 years ago, and that ended up being a scheduled C-section. He was breech for a good chunk of the last bit of my pregnancy, and I'm going to start by sharing you this side of things before I get into this pregnancy that I'm currently in. So with my first little guy, I had great intentions. I had plans on, of course, doing a vaginal delivery and taking that route and being, just as natural as what I thought then as possible. So I was, preparing myself, doing all the things, mentally preparing myself. I was taking courses. My husband and I had gone to courses. We were doing all the things, taking notes from the midwives and all of our friends and family and all the things. Anyway, so here I was thinking that, it was all going to work out and things were going to line up, that it would be, a labor, a delivery, contractions, all the things, right? That is what I was signing up for. That's what I was visualizing. But deep down, when I look back on that pregnancy now, I can see that I very clearly manifested that scheduled C-section. Does that sound crazy? Here we go. Because I know that within my subconscious mind, I was honestly terrified of going through the process of labor and delivery and bringing that baby into the world that way. So even though I was taking steps and moving forward in what I thought was preparing myself for that delivery, I was actually subconsciously very scared of it and was actually pushing that experience away. So I can look back on it now and fully believe that, based on what I was manifesting subconsciously and, through God listening to that, He provided me with the best case experience in that pregnancy, right? It was scheduled, so I had the control. I was very much looking for control. So just all of those pieces and how that lined up is very interesting. And I can see now that I absolutely manifested that. Okay, I won't go too much onto that because I want to share about this pregnancy and how that has changed so tremendously. So that was 2.5 years ago. I am at a very different point in my life, in my self-alignment journey. Mentally, I am stronger than I have ever been, right? I am more authentic. I am more connected to myself and to God. And so I have been manifesting this pregnancy, this birth since basically I found out I was pregnant. So let me just share my little story here. So my first ultrasound that I went into for this pregnancy, I found out that I had placenta previa. Basically, that means that my placenta was covering over part of my cervix. So I would not have been able to vaginally deliver this baby. And as if I remained having placenta previa, it would have been another C-section. I forget what the odds are. I think it's maybe roughly around 50-50 that your placenta does shift throughout the pregnancy and you no longer have that. Anyway, so I hear that, my first ultrasound, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not the plan this time. And I immediately knew it was time to okay, let's focus in, let's start manifesting, let's start visualizing, let's get absolutely clear on what I want this to look like and how this is going to go. So that is exactly what I did, and that lit the fire under my butt to get clear on exactly what I want this to look like, how I want it to go. So hearing that, I very much could have been like, okay, great, I have placenta previa. It's probably going to be another C-section. Why bother going through all of these other things? Why bother even, wrapping my head around a vaginal delivery? Why bother even, watch what I'm eating or being conscious of that and educating myself and gaining knowledge and doing the exercises and staying active and right? I could have very much taken that path and just, kind of let it be what it was supposed to be. However, that was not at all my mindset this time. I took that and immediately went to my gratitude journaling, started writing out what it was I was wanting, what I was ready to be clear on, and I stuck to that, okay? So my wishes are a vaginal delivery, not another C-section. That is what I was journaling. That is what I, from that very moment, started preparing for and planning for to happen. I was doing like all kinds of different exercises and have been. I started doing that very early on. Even just being careful with my diet, not super careful, but like paying attention to the things that could help that. I am now full on into my days of eating all the dates and my raspberry leaf tea, right? Going and doing all the different things now, chiropractor and all those things, mentally preparing myself, visualizing exactly what that labor and delivery room was going to look like. Like I have it so crystal clear in my mind. I can see Justin and I there. I know the music, I know the mood, I know exactly what it looks like, our midwife, all the things. I have gotten crystal clear on that and I connect to that every single day. So that is kind of what I started doing. So here comes my next ultrasound. I don't even know at what point that was. Anyway, just to kind of check, see where my placenta was at, what that was looking like. Sure enough, my placenta had started to shift away from my cervix. It was still covering a little bit, so I wasn't totally in the clear, but it had started shifting. Not surprised. I was not at all surprised to hear that. So that was amazing. I continue doing on. I'm like, oh, I've got this. Like, this is done. I've already manifested this part. Can't wait for my next ultrasound to just finalize that manifestation, really. So continue doing what I was doing. I go for walks with Cone every day, just being very active, very mindful, and focusing on what I want the outcome to be, okay? Not even necessarily what the current reality is. So fast forward to my last ultrasound, which was a few weeks ago now, and, sorry, out of breath, they told me that the results showed that my placenta has shifted so far that it is almost like in the complete opposite, like it is shifted all the way up to almost the top of this baby belly. And my midwife was actually like, that's actually kind of crazy how much it has shifted in like a very short period of time. And I just kind of chuckled to myself because I thought, not surprised, not a coincidence. I knew that's exactly what was going to happen. So there is like absolutely no concern. It's not even an issue whatsoever anymore. And it's just incredible because everything has continued lining up. And my pregnancy has been incredible. My pregnancy honestly was incredible last time. Manifestation, 100%. Just focusing on what it is that I desired that outcome to be, no matter what my current present reality was. So I am sharing this story with you for a few reasons. Because one, sometimes things may be presented to you in the way that is disappointing, or it doesn't really start the way that you want it to go. That doesn't mean you have to accept it and just let it ride out that way, okay? You and your mind are so powerful that you truly can control things, such as shifting your placenta within your body. Like, some people may think I'm a little crazy and maybe it was just a coincidence, but I fully believe that is not the case. Because of the actions I was taking and the way that I continued to start living my life, that is what helped to make this shift move, right? I could have gone very much the opposite direction and it would have never shifted or it would have never moved. I'm going to go even deeper on this on a spiritual level because I know that I didn't do this alone. I think it was very, very clear that God was sending me a message to prepare me to be that version that I need to be in that delivery room, right? If he would have just made it easy for me from the start, like, yep, sure, Jill, no complication, no issues, here you go do your thing, have your vaginal delivery this time, it's all good. I am certain that I would not have remained quite as active. Maybe my pregnancy would have looked different. I probably wouldn't have done the amount of research that I've done. I wouldn't have become so certain and so clear and so empowered. Like, I can't even tell you how empowered I feel, how the way that this is lining up, I am like I am ready to do this. And I know that I would have never felt that way had I not gone through it exactly like this. Okay, so I truly feel like it was God preparing me to get ready to use my voice, right? There are ways that Justin and I want to go about this labor and delivery that are very much unique to us and to what our wishes are, that might not be what everybody else want, right? So we had to get clear in knowing exactly what that is, and prepare ourselves for saying no, and prepare ourselves to say, this is what we want, and this is what we would like you to value for us. Right? It's allowed us to connect on a deeper level as a husband and wife, as a partner, as a family, right? So I know that this was a bigger plan, okay? And I am just so beyond grateful for all of that, because I am just ready is how I feel. And I'm not rushing, baby. I'm not rushing any of this, but I just feel ready and I feel prepared. And that is so much different than I ever felt the last time, right? I was still letting that fear and that doubt slide in, and ultimately it impacted my outcome 100%. I fully believe that. And again, same time this time, I impacted the final outcome, but with the opposite. I impacted it with faith. I impacted it with certainty. I impacted it with connection, right? So I am just sharing that to show you guys how powerful we really are if we believe it, okay? Look at the things we can manifest. Like, I am not making this stuff up. It's incredible. You can't make this stuff up is what I'm saying. So know how powerful you are, that you truly can have anything that you desire. I'm speaking as though it's already done, so stay tuned, because I can't wait to share my birth story and how all of that goes. But also just remember that things may not start out, or they may not look like from the beginning that it's going to work out in your favor, or that it may not be the way that you want it to be. But if you hold true and stay in that certainty and that faith and keep moving in alignment, taking action to what it is that you really want, things can change like that, okay? And things can always work out, right? I take on the belief all the time that everything is always working out for me, and it always goes even better than I've imagined. Okay, I hope this maybe inspired you a little bit, shared some more insight, and give you some takeaways for this week's Manifestation Monday. All right, take care, stay tuned.